Hey ladies and gentlemen, it's Miss Humbert here, and I'm going to be talking over the product rule with you today to finish up your Unit 9 Notes 1. So let's first of all get what the product rule is written down. So you're given 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2, and the solutions are inverse. Okay, so if they say they're inversely related or if there's inverse variation, those are keywords that tell you that you can use the product rule when applying these. All right, so for example, all you're going to do is, okay, if we take our first coordinate and we multiply the two together, if we multiply x1 and y1, it's going to equal some k. All right, likewise, if we have a second point, that second point, we'll multiply the 2 points together, x and y, and it equals the same k. So really, the product of the first point multiplied together and the product of the second point multiplied together are equal to each other. This is also the same concept as cross multiplying, which is what you see towards the bottom there. All right, so you really want to make sure you get this product rule written down because it will help you kind of go through the following problems. So let's take a look at number 5. If y varies inversely as x and y is equal to 4 when x is equal to 7, find x when y is equal to 14. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to multiply these together. So let's write out the points. So if y varies inversely as x and y is equal to 4 when x is equal to 7, so we have the point 7, 4. We need to find x, so we don't know what it is, when y is 14. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply those 2 points together. So 7 times 4 has to be equal to 14 times x. That right there is the product rule. So I took these 2 points and multiplied them together, and these 2 points and multiplied them together. So 7 times 4 is 28, and that's equal to 14x. So now this is just a one-step equation. So I'm going to divide both sides by 14, and I get that x is equal to 2. Okay, so x is equal to 2. Let's take a look at number 6. It's going to be a lot of the same thing. Y varies inversely as x when y equals 4 and x equals negative 8. So x is equal to negative 8. I always write my x first. Okay, x always comes first in the coordinate point. So I have the point negative 8, 4. And now it says find y when x is equal to negative 4. So negative 4 here and y there. So what we want to do next is we want to multiply. So we're going to do negative 8 times, negative 8 times 4. So negative 8 times 4 is equal to negative 4 times y. So again, just multiplying the things in the parentheses together. Well, negative 8 times 4 is negative 32, and that's equal to negative 4y. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to solve that for y. Divide both sides by negative 4. Divide a negative by a negative, it's positive. Negative 32 divided by negative 4 is 8. So y is equal to 8. Let's take a look at 7, number 7. So same deal, we're going to write out our coordinate points. So if y varies inversely as x when y is equal to 5 and x is equal to 12. So x is equal to 12, y is equal to 5. Find x, so we don't know x, when y is equal to 15. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to multiply these together. So I'm going to do 12 times 5, and I'm going to do x times 15. So 12 times 5 is 60. And x times 15 is the same as 15x. That's how we're kind of used to seeing it. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to divide both sides by 15. And I get that x is equal to 4. So that's my final answer for number 7. Let's take a look at number 8. If y varies inversely as x and y is equal to negative 8 when x is equal to negative 3. So x is equal to negative 3, y is equal to negative 8. So we need to find x. We don't know what x is when y is equal to 6. So now again, we want to multiply those parentheses together. So I'm going to take negative 3 times negative 8, and that's going to be equal to x times 6. Negative 3 times negative 8 is 24. X times 6 is 6x. So last but not least, divide both sides by 6, and I get x is equal to 4. Let's take a look at number 9. As the temperature increases, the level of the water decreases. So right there, if one's going up while the other is going to down, that tells you that it's inversely related. When the temperature was 90 degrees Fahrenheit, so I'm going to write that in a coordinate point. When it was 90 degrees Fahrenheit, the water level was 11. If the temperature is 110 degrees Fahrenheit, what is the level of the river? We don't know that. But because it's inversely related, we can use the product rule. So I'm going to take 90 times 11 and set that equal to 110y. Well, 90 times 11 is 990, and that's equal to 110y. So I'm going to divide both sides by 110 and solve for y. And I end up with y is equal to 950. feet. We want to make sure we label it because we're talking about the water level being at that feet level. Next, let's take a look at number 10. So we're talking about physical science. So we're talking about a 118-pound person. Okay, and they're sitting 1.8 meters. It tells us that it's inversely proportional to their weight, so we know eventually we're going to be using that product rule. So we have a 118-pound person sitting 1.8 meters away. How far should a 125 person? So notice that I'm always putting weight in the X position, and then I'm going to put the distance in the Y position. So I don't know the distance quite yet. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply that out. So I'm going to take 118 times 1.8, and I'm going to set that equal to 125 times y. So 118 times 1.8 gives me 212.4 is equal to 125 y. So now I need to solve that for y. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to divide both sides by 125. So 212 divided by 125 is going to give me 1.7. Last but not least, I need to figure out what my label is going to be. And it's meters, because that's how far from the center they are. So I want to make sure I label that meters. And that concludes your note video. Thanks for listening.